What's going on, people? I just want to comment briefly on President Trump's old tax returns being leaked. Now, this is not a new thing. This was done to cater to the mind of the weak. This was done by an enemy of Trump. And it was for the enemy of Trump to have something to run and tell. But when I read this article, as a businessman, Trump made a smart move. Now, I'm going to read only a portion of this, and I'm going to put the link on the bottom, and you guys can read it for yourself if you had not already read it online. But in the meantime, click the donate button and support the channel. But repeated leaks and revelations are chipping away at Trump's attempts to keep his tax record secret from the American public. Again, this is old news. I heard about this back in the 80s, and it wasn't a concern to me back then, and it's not a concern to me now. This is the least important thing that people, that Americans should be focusing on. There's just so many more important things to be talking about than to be talking about the tax returns of President Trump. At the end of the day, in spite of what happened in the past before he became president, the economy is doing an outstanding job. Regardless of what losses that was reported on his tax returns, America is doing great right now because of President Trump. Now, as a business person, I don't think there's any business that ever existed that never took a loss. We hear of cases where celebrities and millionaires and even billionaires would file Chapter 13, or they would file bankruptcy. Now, the media gets a hold of that, and the media put out there like, oh, 50 Cent filed bankruptcy. Donald Trump filed bankruptcy. Whoever filed bankruptcy. But what they fail to realize is bankruptcy is not always a bad thing. It gives you the option of starting over. And there's bankruptcy out there that will allow you to keep your stuff. You're just starting over. And there's many cases where celebrities are sued. You have a female that was sued a celebrity, like 50 Cent. And 50 Cent say, you're not getting a penny of that. So what does he do? He filed bankruptcy. Bankruptcy allow him to keep his stuff and allow debt to go away, or to allow certain debt to go away. Again, I don't think there's any business that never took a loss. I recall my store when it was in the hood, and they had a lot of these little field mice that come in the store. And I remember coming in one day, and in my storage space, went in there and I looked, I saw these little mice droppings, where the mice got in, through the building and ate up or just nibbled on a lot of my product, left mice droppings and mice urine all over certain things. And there were things that I got in that was brand new. And I'm like, wow. And I did not want to throw that stuff away. The only thing I'm thinking in my mind is the loss that I'm taking. I didn't want to take that loss, but I couldn't sell it. And I had some African cloth dowels, some real nice stuff. And I'm thinking like, well, you know what? I could take this to the cleaners, get it cleaned up, And I said, but no, I can't do that. I can't do that because it's not going to be the same. When I present it, it's not going to look the same. It's not brand new. So I couldn't do that. So my heart just dropped to my stomach when I just threw that stuff away. I had to throw it away. That was a loss that I had to take. Now, before I started business, I used to hear a lot of old businessmen, both black and white, used to tell me the first couple of years of business, you really don't make nothing. Yeah, you do make something, but the way they look at it as the money that you do make, it goes back into the business. Yes, you do make a profit, but a lot of that money goes back into the business. So when it comes time to file taxes, they put 0 down for profit. They made 0 profit, so they don't pay taxes on that. That's more than likely what Trump did. There was loopholes, and Trump took advantage of the loopholes. And there were times that, as they say, he didn't have to pay taxes because he knew how to work the loopholes. I don't think there's any individual that have not taken advantage of loopholes. There are so many black folk. Since we got a lot of black people that's pointing fingers at Trump, there's a lot of black people that's not married, that don't have children, that will claim somebody else's child on their tax returns just to get a large amount of money back. And they would tell that person, let me claim your two children on my taxes and I'll give you a certain amount of money. So you have people every single year filing taxes, false information on their taxes. They're claiming other people's children, and they're getting these checks back $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 back, and maybe even more. And they get that money back, and then they kind of hit that person off with some money because they allow that person to claim their children on their tax returns. Well, that's a loophole. So the average citizen does the same thing that Trump is doing. He's a businessman. But at the end of the day, the economy is doing great. And another thing too, before I read a portion of this article, they have a very old photo of Trump. This photo was taken back in 1989. Donald Trump, then a real estate tycoon and media personality, poses in the Trump Tower atrium in 1989. Now, again, they have an image of Donald Trump there, and people are judging him by their image and by what happened back in the 80s. But do you remember when Trayvon Martin was killed? And the media did to Trayvon Martin the same thing they're doing to President Trump now. They put a very old picture of Trayvon Martin when he was much younger to gain sympathy. See, because it can work both ways. People would either gain sympathy, or you would have people that would lash out against them. So they had a young picture of Trayvon Martin saying that Zimmerman killed this young boy and he had weed, and they showed pictures of Trayvon Martin with his middle finger up, where he's thrown up what looked like gang signs, and they used that against Trayvon Martin, although he was the victim. And you had a lot of black people that were upset, saying that that's an old picture of Trayvon Martin. But you were upset because the media was putting out false information. Now the media is doing the same thing with President Trump, and you in agreement with that. That's hypocritical, right? But again, at the end of the day, the economy is doing excellent, and his enemies will do anything to make him look bad. Now, I'm gonna scan this, only find a small portion. I'm gonna put the link on the bottom, and you guys can read it for yourself. The latest came last last night, I don't know why they put last twice, when the New York Times published details of the president's 1985 to 1994 tax records. The documents exposed large losses by Trump's network of casinos and hotels totaling $1.17 billion over the course of the 9 years, more than any other U.S. citizen in the same period, according to the Times. And again, Trump more than likely knew the loopholes, right? And it goes back to, like I gave the example of 50 Cent that filed bankruptcy, and he probably have offshore accounts. He probably got money in other places that you know nothing about, or money that's hidden in his home. So you have people, man, that's quick to believe what the fake news media tell them, and they run with it. Trump found some loopholes, and he decided to report, and more than likely, he probably wrote some losses down, which puts him in a situation where he ain't got to pay for the losses. If you're not making profit, you can't support what you don't make. So more than likely, he had some good people around him, some smart people, and you have to have smart people around you to be able to deal with that kind of money and those kind of businesses. So it's nothing new. It's something that most big businesses do every single day, but you just never hear about it. You're hearing about it now because it's President Trump. And they want to make him look like a bad guy or make him look like a bad businessman. But just think about it. Even if he lost $1.17 billion, he's still wealthy. To this very day, he's still wealthy enough to come off his business and be the president. He was still elected as president in the United States. And it says, and they contribute to a growing but still incomplete picture of Trump's tax strategism and business dealing before his election. Again, before his election. And I'm gonna read this small part. Before his victory back in October 2016, again, the Times acquired documents that undermine Trump's campaign trail boasts about his business acumen, showing that Trump claimed 916 million losses in his 1995 personal filings. The document suggests that he may have paid no federal income tax for 2 decades. That's a smart man right there. Trump knew exactly what he was doing. It's not his fault. He took advantage of the loopholes that was there, right? And if any one of y'all had the opportunity to take advantage of a loophole, you would surely do it. You have done it. You do it every single year when you file your taxes. That's why we hear in the news about all these people getting these huge tax returns, because the system caught up with them. Well, when you are a smart businessman like Trump, you know how to hide that. You know how to word that. It's a language that many Americans don't know. And see, Trump haters are gonna look at that as, how can he be a president and make deals and he lost billions of dollars and have not showed his tax returns? At the end of the day, the economy is greater than any other president that came before Trump that's an actual politician. Trump was not a politician when he started running. That's why they hate him so much. And the same thing they did to Trayvon Martin and other black people, they're doing it to Trump right now. And it's surprising that so many black people are on the bandwagon of the same media that destroyed them for centuries. So I'm going to put the link on the bottom. You guys can read it for yourself. There's more information on that. Feedback, tell me what you think. And don't forget to subscribe and click the donate button and donate. If you are a Trump supporter, click the donate button. Until next time, I'm fearless.